What's up, y'all? It's your guy, eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your Jamahal versus Alex Pereira breakdown, film study style, baby. I can't wait to talk about this fight. This fight's a really, really good fight in the light heavyweight division. Really awesome title fight that we're going to be getting. Is it 300 main event worthy? I wouldn't say so, to be honest. But I still think this has a lot of potential to have some legitimate fireworks and surprise the public with the outcome. I really, really do. I think a lot of people, first of all, are doubting Jamahal at an insane rate, which I think is kind of stupid. But and also I do think Alex Pereira is one of the better strikers in the world, in MMA in particularly, and it's always a beautiful sight to see him fight. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal fight, and I can't wait for it. And these guys have so many parallels with each other, which is actually interesting. Both guys, kind of had that little face-to-face little interaction where everyone kind of took a picture of it, where after Jamahal beats Glover to share, and Hill's shaking Glover's team, he kind of goes face-to-face with Alex, and they had that little thing, and that kind of started it. And Alex has been on this almost Glover revenge tour, kind of, right? He beat Erie, now he's on to Hill, and both these guys have wins over Glover. So it's kind of cool, right? Those are things to kind of look at it. And also, one of the biggest aspects about this is Jamahal was the former champion. He didn't lose his belt. His goddamn injury to his Achilles is what lost him that belt, and Alex ended up taking the scraps, right? So it's kind of like an interesting dynamic here, and it kind of gives us this conclusion to that little injury champion arc at light heavyweight, that no one could, hold that belt for longer than a month. We had a draw between Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev. Yuri Prochazka got injured. Jamahal got injured. Now we have a champion that's actually defending their belt at light heavyweight. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this plays out. And I just think stylistically, I just think a lot of people are going to be really surprised how this fight's going to look. I really, really do. I think a lot of people are kind of playing with Jamahal right now. I think Jamahal is the more complete fighter out of the two. Even though I think Alex has a lot of weapons here that he can use against Jamal. Jamal has his weaknesses, and we'll talk about it. But I think it's going to be a really interesting fight. And I can't wait to talk about it. So let's get into the tail of the tape, baby. Alex Pereira obviously is the champion of the division currently. Comes with a record of 9-2. Is fighting out of Brazil. No, actually, he's fighting out of Connecticut. My bad. He's from Brazil. Age 36, a height of 6'4", and a reach of 80. Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill comes with a record of 12-1. Is fighting out of Michigan. Age 32, a height of 6'4", and a reach of 79. So yeah. Obviously, Alex is fighting another guy that's super long and rangy, like almost kind of like Adesanya-ish, and has long arms and can match him in the reach. I know Alex has a bit of a reach advantage here, but besides that's not a big thing. Obviously, Hill's the younger guy going into his prime. Now, at light heavyweight, being 36 isn't horrible. It's not a deal breaker. And I just think it's not the worst thing in the world to be 36 at light heavyweight and heavyweight. So it's not that bad to be that age. You're still, it's kind of bad when you're like a lighter weight guy, but besides that, I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? But I did do a film study breakdown on this, and let's kind of talk about it. So what I did 3-fight film study breakdown. You guys kind of know the rodeo. If this is your first time, let me explain it to you. So I look at 3 fights individually for both sides, right? So now, obviously, it's a total of 6 fights. But the 3 fights I look at are 2 fights where I felt like you fought a common opponent to a Jamahal or an Alex Pereira, right? And you did well against. And then I find another one where they're similar to a Jamahal or an Alex Pereira, and you did bad against. And we kind of look at why you did bad, and then for the other fight, why you did good, right? And then obviously we talk about your most recent fight, and then collectively we get to obviously your keys to victory and what we learned from those 3 fights, and then obviously we go all the way to the end, and I give you my prediction and who I'm rocking with, who I'm siding with, who eBay for prediction is picking, baby. So that's kind of how we do it. But yeah, that's about it. And so let's start off with the Michigan's own Jamahal Hill, and let's talk about him. I feel like he is so athletic, right? And his athleticism can sometimes be his downfall, and it's kind of weird, right? And I felt like this, like when I was watching his what's this guy's name? Like I was saying, I felt like he dealt with issues with his athleticism in his Draco Stozic fight. That was his debut fight in the UFC after his Contender Series matchup. Um, Here's the thing, like Jamahal Hill, obviously, he's very rangy, he's very athletic, and I like how he uses his footwork, his movement, all of that. But he does leave himself open. He does rely on his athleticism a little too much, and it kind of bit him in the ass here a little bit. And he kind of got caught. This guy was able to put a lot of pressure on him. Walk him down a little bit. Jamahal Hill had some good moments with his knees, his body kicks, which is kind of like an underrated part of his game. But again, this guy came with these hooks and he just walked him down. He started landing this lead hook a lot. And I'm just saying, if Alex Pereira lands that, it's good night, Irene. So Jamahal Hill, hopefully he's fixed some of these mistakes he's made in this fight. But he made a lot of mistakes here where he kind of let this guy walk him down a little bit. And he got takedowns off of it too. Now, do I think Alex is going to go for takedowns? I highly doubt it. But Jamahal Hill's obviously super athletic. But again, he wasn't being defensively responsible in this fight. Got caught with two major hooks here. And again, it's lead hook city for Stozic. All the time he does. And Jamahal Hill, what he was really good here is outpacing him. One thing Jamahal Hill doesn't get enough credit for is his volume and his significant strikes that he throws. He throws them at an insane rate, and he's just going and going and going. And he's just going after this guy, right? He's just putting it on him eventually. And that's kind of why I think he won this fight, was the volume. Like, good body work here by Jamahal Hill. Now, obviously, Stozic got more takedowns, and that kind of helped him survive this fight. But man, Jamahal Hill put a beating on him, man. He really did. That's what I love, man. Stozic got another takedown here. And then he was able to kind of control Jamahal Hill with wrestling a little bit in that third round. But it was a good fight. And even though Jamahal, he got taken out for the last time here, even though he lost this fight, I felt like he learned a lot, and I felt like he's kind of cleared up some of those defensive holes. But one of the biggest things, I feel like, if Alex Pereira is watching this fight, lead hook is there. He does not return that lead hand or that backhand to defend himself when he's throwing combinations. He was throwing that 1-2-3, and the Stozic, right after he threw that punch and he had his high guard up, throws that lead hook and catches him. Just a simple catch and shoot, boom, he gets him right there. And that's what fucking Alex Pereira has lived off of. That's what he's made legit money off of. He's made his career off of just a catch and shoot lead hook sometimes, and he knocks dudes out. And Jamahal Hill has to be wary of that. Even though Jamahal Hill's super athletic, I really didn't appreciate Jamahal Hill's game until I did this film study. I really didn't give him his credit, but he's really truly an athletic, sensational striker with legitimate knockout power, and he can do a lot of things that a lot of people can't get away with because of his length, his size, and his athleticism overall. But again, still, some of those technical rules of defense still apply to Jamahal Hill. And in this Stozic fight, even though he won and he beat him by just out volume and throwing really good knees and body kicks that he can obviously use against Alex Pereira, it's his defense that's something that he has to fix going into this matchup. And that's something that I think he has fixed with, more shoulder rolling, more rolling with the punches, more movement and stuff like that. But again, he does have to watch out for that. But I also looked at a matchup where he fought another good striker in Thiago Santos. This is his kind of coming out party into the top 5. And he fought this fight and then fought for a title. Now, even though he did really good against Thiago Santos, he still had some moments where I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But one thing he's so good at, I will give Jamahal Hill a lot of credit before we talk about this fight. He turns these strikers into wrestlers. I've noticed this. He turned Thiago Santos into a wrestler for the first time in his life. And it was kind of crazy. Stozic turned into a wrestler after he felt that power from Jamahal Hill. But again, still, these are things to look at. But I thought Thiago, he landed a good leg kick here, and that's something Jamahal is gonna have to worry about. Obviously, the takedowns from Thiago Santos came too as well. Interesting game plan, but Jamahal Hill's lead hook, his step back, everything he does here, his athleticism allows him to get away with a lot, and his length. Right, another good leg kick here by Santos. But again, when you watch this fight, it's that athleticism and that power and that youth of Jamahal Hill that I'm super impressed with. Right, he's able to just do a lot of things that some other guys just can't. I'm just sorry, you can't get it like Adesanya can do that, where he can just lean his head back and just throw that lead hook and just connect. Some guys can't do that. Like honestly, it's just too dangerous, right? But they can because they're long. They're super athletic. They got good reach. Even though defensively it's not the best thing in the world, but some guys can get away with some shit. Life ain't fair, y'all. That's one thing I'm gonna bring up in this video. Sometimes life ain't fair, bro. Some guys can do what you can't, and I think that's why Santos had to wrestle in this fight as much as he did to be successful. And he did a good job here wrestling him and pacing him with good takedowns. And he put a wrestling clinic on for a minute in this fight, man. He was landing a lot of good takedowns, and Jamahal Hill kept getting taken down, but again, it kind of played into Hill's game where, all right, you can take me down, keep taking me down. I'm going to get up and you're going to be tired. And that's kind of what Santos did to himself. He kind of tired himself out, and Jamahal Hill put that pressure on him. He started landing a lot of good shots. Again, he's really underrated for his volume punching, and he put a goddamn pace on him, right? In that fourth round. He just did not let him rest. He knew he was tired. He smelled blood, and he put it on him, man. He really, really did. And I love what he does in this last sequence, right? He chases him. He starts landing hooks, gets the takedown defense going on, lands good knees, throws the cross, and he's just swinging with him, but he knows he's longer than him, and he knows that he can roll with these punches, and Santos is just too tired to take the damage, and he put on a clinic here. I say it over and over again, Jamahal Hill has underrated volume and very, very underrated defense with his movement and his athleticism. His defense kind of goes with his athleticism and his movement, and he can get away with a lot of stuff, but it works and it's very sneaky. All right, you'll throw your lead hook, but he's gonna catch it with a shoulder, or he's gonna move out the way because he's just so fast and he's so bouncy, and he's just gonna move, and then he's gonna hit you with that just whiplash 1-2. He's going to break you down. He's going to throw knees. He's going to throw a lot of stuff you don't expect a guy like him to throw, and he's going to get you. And he's a student of the game. He really, really is. If you actually watch Jamahal Hill fight, he's always learning, and he's truly what I would call, like, some people categorize him as a boxer. I wouldn't categorize him as a boxer. He's an MMA fighter. He's an MMA striker, and he's good at game plans, and he's really smart. Like, he doesn't get enough credit for his intelligence, I feel like. And he did a good job of breaking down Thiago Santos, beating him, and basically finishing him. Like, I mean, Walker couldn't do that. I know Jamahal Hill, not Jamahal Hill, I know Thiago Santos was washed beyond belief, but still, like, the way he beat him, it was pretty impressive. And I was happy with that performance. And obviously his last fight, it pains me to rewatch this, but the Glover Teixeira beating that he put on Glover, it was sickening. Obviously, this was his light heavyweight championship moment, and he did his thing. And I didn't think Glover was gonna go out like this. I thought Glover was gonna pace him. I thought the takedowns that Santos showed us was gonna be there for Hill, for Glover against Hill, and it just wasn't. I mean, Jamahal Hill came prepared. He showed really great takedown defense here. And also I want to talk about this narrative that Glover was old. I don't think so. I really don't. I disagree with that to the highest degree, and the highest order, because I just think that's a big cope from a lot of people, because just 6 months ago, Yuri fights the same guy, and Yuri gets praised. I get it. He was the champion, but still have some respect, okay? Please. But yeah, I thought Hill did a good job of landing some good knees here against Glover after defending the takedown. Again, he showed a repertoire of his kicking game, good body kick here by Jamahal Hill, and just a lot of his game was shown here. Like, he just was so faster than Glover. He made him look just slow, and he made him look old. He landed a really good uppercut 3-2 combo, and he was really good at using his movement and just keeping Glover at bay with his range. And he did a good job of defending takedowns here at an amazing clip. I was so impressed by that. But one thing Glover was able to land was a lead hook. Again, Jamahal has to be wary of that. Like, that's going to be coming from Alex Pereira. Good leg kick here, even by Glover Teixeira, right? Who's not a really big kicker. But one of the things I was super impressed, even though Glover landed his leg kick, dude, this high kick that Jamahal throws at Glover was insane. Like, he'll double it up and then he'll fucking crack his ass with it. And then he just got him so good, man. He wobbled him so bad with that. He didn't expect it. And that's what I love about Jamahal. That's called game planning. That's called strategy. Everyone puts me in this boxer category, and he start wailing on him too as well, like he's putting it on him after that, by the way. But, people put me in this boxer category, this and that. Okay, I'll throw these fucking kicks and you won't see it coming. And he did a great job of that. I was super impressed when he did that. And it was really high level. Again, good takedown defense shown by Jamahal against Glover. But then eventually Glover does get him taken down, does get a takedown here, but Jamahal able to get back up, man. I was super impressed by that. I was really impressed by his ability to get right back up after getting taken down by Glover. And then, Glover goes for another takedown here in this third round. Isn't really able to get it. Jamahal does a really good job of turning around and just putting it on him. But yeah, like, it's one of these things, man. Hill was just too quick for him. Another good head kick, and that fucking kills Glover here. And then I thought, there was a lot of moments in this fight it could have got stopped. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This was a fucking beatdown of a century if I ever saw one. Jamahal obviously was the superior fighter shown in this fight, and he beat the living crap out of him. Like, he left Glover in a pool of his own blood at one point. Like, insane ground and pound, just a beat down if I ever saw one. Good, like, fucking pullback counter here by Jamahal. Just a masterclass in striking, athleticism, just utilizing all of his tools in MMA in terms of striking. I was just so impressed. He did something really cool here where he'll pull back. Glover goes for a takedown. He controls the hips and he gets him with a knee right in there. It was just some slick shit that Jamahal was really doing in this fight that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. Good takedown. 1-2. Just a lot of good stuff. And then Glover landed some good shots, right? He did. He really did. In between this fight, there's a lot of stuff you can look for Alex Pereira where, like, oh shit, 2-3, right down the pipe for, but again, fucking Jamahal was just too long, too athletic, too rangy. Good uppercut here. Just beating him up in the corner, putting a beat down. Like, here, they could have probably stopped the fight in the fourth round where he's just wailing on him. And Glover's, even though he's rolling with some of these, he was getting beat down, bro. He was getting beat down, y'all. Like, it was bad. It was bad. And then obviously Glover goes for his last attempt, gets the takedown here. Good outside trip by Glover. I kind of thought Glover had a good chance, and I was rooting for Glover big time here. I was like, man, come on, Glover, come on, Grandpa Glover, let's get it done, baby, let's get it done. And Jamahal just is able to get out of the mount just with just pure, again, athleticism. And that's kind of all she wrote there. Jamahal just outbested him in every category that he needed to and made sure that even where he might have faltered in some areas of MMA, he's able to hide it with good movement, good athleticism, good striking, good distance management. Just everything he did in that fight was perfect. Like, I can't credit him more, and that's why he won that world championship that day. And yeah, now, so we looked at those three fights, right? And here's the thing. I feel like after looking at those three fights, sorry, I just had to adjust it real quick. We can kind of tell what Jamahal is good at and what he needs to do to go really win this fight against Alex Pereira, right? And here's the keys of victory looking for Jamahal. We know that he has great athleticism, great distance, great movement, great footwork. So what's the number one thing he really needs to work on? His lead hand and backhand guard defense, his catch and shoot, right? If fucking Alex Pereira throws that lead hook, you catch that shit, you throw your own lead hook, and you end it with a cross, right? He has to work on that defense, especially with his, obviously with his legs and his head, right? Do I think he can become a leg kick, master like Jan Blachowicz? I don't think so. But being bouncy, using your footwork, using your lateral movement will help you get out the way. So obviously, using your footwork to help your defense, obviously. But so biggest thing is number one key of victory for Jamahal Hill is defense. Defense is so big. It will get him to the dance, right? It will get him where he needs to get, is the promised land. If he can work on those mistakes he's shown us when he fought Stozic, right? He got hit with that lead hook. And if he can show that he can defend those shots, be crispy, get out the way, and obviously get out the way of the leg kicks, right? He's good. His lateral movement, right? His bouncy footwork, whatever you want to call it, right? That's going to be big for him. He's a lot faster, a lot more agile than Alex. Alex is bouncy too, but he's bouncy in a way of kind of back and forth, but he's not moving across the octagon. He's not circling the octagon like Jamahal Hill is. You know what I'm saying? And then my third thing is your volume. Your volume is going to be your biggest friend here, right? His biggest friend is his volume. He doesn't get enough credit for it. His pacing and his output and his significant strikes that he puts out. I mean, he had some of the most significant strikes against Glover. It was insane what he was doing to Glover Teixeira in that fight. He doesn't get enough credit for it. He throws punches and bunches. If he can do that to Alex, because Alex is so used to, that kickboxing style of just kind of just keeping his hands up. You can even see some of his losses where he's just getting wailed on because he has his hands up and he's trying to like high guard himself, right? Jamahal Hill can take advantage of that. And he can legit put him down. He can put him down that way and get him out of there. I think Jamahal Hill is getting massively underrated in this matchup. And that's also, I think my biggest thing is his volume. I think he needs to remember what brought him to the dance. He's not a knockout artist. He is, but it's his volume is his. I don't care about his power. Fuck his power. Because the knockout's always going to be there. I don't want Jamahal Hill to go out there and force the knockout. He has the ability to go out here and truly separate himself from Alex Pereira in a striking sense, because this is an MMA fight. This isn't a kickboxing fight. It's different, right? So he has a real good ability to separate himself. Now, my fourth little bonus key of victory for Jamahal Hill, his grappling. I don't give a fuck, bro. I'll say this for every opponent that fights Alex Pereira. You are a better grappler than this guy. I don't give a fuck if you started MMA 5 years ago. You're still a better grappler than him. And I don't care. Jamahal Hill, even if he has never shot for a takedown, he probably should. And he probably will be successful in this matchup if he shoots for a takedown here. And those are kind of like it's usually 3, but I had to add this one because, dude, like, come on, bro. If you can't fucking knock him out, go out there and take him down if you can. Jamahal Hill is just, I feel like if he fights to his best ability, he truly can go out here and outclass Alex Pereira and get his belt back. I really, really do believe that. I truly believe that. But obviously, we got to be fair and we got to look at the other side. I kind of think you guys know where I'm kind of leaning towards in this matchup. If you know, you know. But obviously, we got to talk about Alex Pereira in this film study breakdown. And so with Alex, it was kind of hard to find someone that kind of mimicked Jamahal Hill and who I could really compare Jamahal Hill to. So I just kind of looked at the Adesanya Classics, man, the 1-2 special, baby. So obviously we're going to talk about the first Adesanya Alex Pereira MMA fight at UFC 281. A very, very special fight that has a very special place in my heart, y'all. This fight in particular was beautiful. It was a beautiful fight. I enjoyed it to the highest degree. Rewatching it, like, honestly, real talk, some high level kickboxing was shown in this high level striking, and I feel like it doesn't get appreciated at all, honestly, when I rewatch this fight. But obviously, I thought Alex, he did a lot of good stuff in the beginning of this first round. A lot of good leg kicks. I thought he was fighting really good. Obviously, Adesanya was looking good too. Landed a really beautiful body kick, and then he lands this beautiful shot at the end of the round. It kind of seals the deal for him, where he just stuns him. And obviously, that's something Hill's going to be looking. Hill has a very snappy 1-2, man. very snappy, and a fucking lethal fadeaway lead hook that he likes to throw. And that's something big for Hill. And Alex got caught. But one thing I love about Alex, he never let this deter him. He went in that second round and he went after Adesanya. Lands a beautiful jab here, and he's just running after him. Doesn't let him get nowhere. And, he puts on good pressure. Even though he's kind of like he waits a little too much, he does a good job of like putting you in that corner, and then he'll let a combo down. Now Alex got hit with some shots by Adesanya. My bad. I had to burp a little bit. Excuse me, y'all. Alex got hit with a beautiful 1-2 by Adesanya, and then again that lethal lead hook that he threw against Adesanya was here, and he got him. And then obviously Pierre ends up with the takedown to seal the deal in the second round. And after that round, Alex started losing a little bit. Adesanya started teeing off on him. Beautiful shots, and it kind of led to a takedown by Izzy, and Izzy just fucking controlled him on the ground. And this is something that's very, very like bad. Adesanya never, ever takes anyone down. I don't know however you want to look at this, but he controlled him with the wrestling in this first fight. And I don't give a fuck if Jamahal Hill doesn't saying, dude, Adesanya was out here looking like a D1 wrestler in the beginning or near the middle of this first fight, actually. And he was just controlling Alex Pereira. And that's kind of what won him, especially that third round in there. And I just kind of felt like, Pereira was doing a bad job of kind of letting this guy get away with shit. It was weird. Adesanya started teeing off on him. And it just wasn't a good look necessarily, even in that fourth round. But in that fifth round, Pierre shows what he has, and that's that dog, man. He has that dog, and he checked that kick, baby. And then, dude, he started putting that pressure on Adesanya, and he showed how well he can deal with adversity, how well he can deal with a long-range striker, and how well he can get them out of there as well. Because his power, he believes in it, and he got Adesanya out of there. He cornered him in there, and that's what Jamahal Hill is going to have to be wary of. And this was more or less, in my performance, a good performance from Pereira, and that's why I kind of highlighted this to begin with. Obviously we started with the bad with Hill. Let's start with the good with Pereira. And Pierre did such a great job. Even though he dealt with so much of the long ranginess of Adesanya, he was able to put him in that corner of the cage, track him down, put pressure, cut the cage, and just beat on him. And that's what Hill's going to have to be wary of, because Hill can get his offense going on, and he might be able to tee off on Pierre, but you cannot allow Pierre just to tee off on you. It is not worth it. You get hit, it is good night, Irene, baby. It's that simple. Pierre has that legitimate knockout power, especially from that left hand of God, left hook of God. Let's call it that. And he ended up beating Adesanya, man. Even though Adesanya he won 3 rounds going into that 5th round, Pierre just got it from him. Just took his soul, as I can say. And it was kind of sad to see a little bit that Pierre had to do it that way, but I wish he would have done it a lot sooner. But it is what it is. So let's obviously talk about some of the bad for Pierre. I felt like the second Adesanya fight in MMA was not a great look, and Izzy, obviously he knew the mistakes he made in that first MMA bout, and he came in here with a little more correct. I thought he looked. Some people say he looks bad. I kind of thought he looked pretty good here. Even though, again, Pierre's staple moves, his leg kicks, were used at a great effect in this second fight, I thought Adesanya did a good job of exposing. But Adesanya was able to expose that body, and that's something that Hill can kind of look at to try to expose a little bit. And I think it would be really nice if he was able to do that. If he was able to implement that as well. But again, Izzy did some really good stuff here, man. He threw his 1-2 and then obviously leaded it with a body kick here. That was really nice. But it was back and forth. Obviously, good leg kick from Pereira, and he just started attacking that lead leg, and that's something that Pereira is going to be looking to attack in this fight with Hill is that lead leg. He's going to be chopping it down like trees, and especially in the second round, I felt like Pierre started putting the pressure and he started to really put it on Adesanya a little bit, and he did a really good job of cornering him. I like some of the stuff he did, but Adesanya still he hit him with that rangy 1-2, and he did a really good job of that, man. He did a really good job of attacking that. He just fought so angry in this fight, and he fought more calculated. Is the best way to just kind of describe it. And obviously Pierre started landing that leg and that leg kick, and it started to affect Izzy. But Izzy, man, he shelled up and hit him with the most beautiful catch and shoot combo I've seen in a long time, and he got him out of there, man. Even though it was a very close competitive fight for 2 rounds, Izzy landed a beautiful shot and he caught Pierre. And that's something that Pierre's going to have to be watching out, because as much as I like to say Jamahal Hill's a good volume power puncher, he still has insane knockout power. And he can go out there and do the exact same thing. Not maybe as flashy as Adesanya, but man, he can knock you the fuck out. I can promise you that. And them sparks will be flying. So that's something that Pierre's going to have to look out for, obviously, against Adesanya. And it was a great win by him. And obviously revitalize his career by a lot. So yeah, but obviously Pierre he lost that fight, and he went to light heavyweight, beat journeyman Jan Blachowicz, and then obviously fought for the world title against Jiri Prochazka, and obviously probably one of the greatest stare downs of all time, or pre-fight title fight stare downs. Dude, these guys were just going at it. It was cool, bro. Honestly, it really was. I was amped. You guys know it was War Pierre at this time. We were anti wannabe samurai Jiri Prochazka, and I just felt like when I saw this fight, this was a tailor-made matchup for even both Hill and Pierre equally. And Jiri Prochazka, he did some things in this fight that are interesting to look at. As much as I might not like him, he did some things, but it just played into Pierre's game, I felt like. Pierre obviously attacked the lead leg multiple times with ease. He fucking targeted it, and he really disabled Jiri in this fight, which forced Jiri to go for the takedown. And he got it. And Jiri did some good stuff with the wrestling. That's why I say Jamahal Hill, go for a takedown. I mean, you probably can get it at this point, but some good elbows from Jiri. But Pierre eventually got up, and he was able to get up. And this was one thing I found interesting, that Jiri was actually able to kind of smother him with long shots and kind of put it on him a little bit. And I didn't like how Pierre looked when backing up against the cage, taking shots. It just didn't look like the right kind of body language. But obviously Pierre was able to come back from that, land these beautiful leg kicks, and eventually land the knockout shot, baby, that got him out of there. I know people cry about the stoppage 24/7, but it was such a beautiful catch and shoot combo where he caught Jiri coming in, but Jiri has no defense. That's always been my issue with him. He has no defense. All right, that was bound to happen. You're asking to get knocked out. You walk down a fucking left hook merchant like that, and you know all he has is truly a left hook. That's all he has. And you walk straight into it. You're asking to get knocked out. He did what he got deserved. You know what I'm saying? Everything that happened to him, he deserved to the fullest degree. And he got fried checked to the highest of orders. And Pierre took that goddamn belt. Now, obviously, Pereira looked phenomenal. And we talked about these 3 fights, and we obviously know that, I know a lot of people think he's going to go out there and just tool Jamahal Hill. I understand why some people feel the way they feel, because his keys of victory are very simple. His leg kicks, obviously defense. I always going to bring it up. Defense is some of the most important things. And obviously his left hook, his counter left hook, his catch and shoot left hook, his jumping left hook, his fadeaway left hook. However he throws his left hook, he's going to throw it. And if Jamahal Hill acts like this is, Stozic or Thiago Santos, he will get clipped and he will get hurt. Now, Jamahal Hill obviously has a good chin, I will say that, and he's taken a lot of good shots, and he's never been truly knocked out before, but you cannot be reckless here, and you can't keep your hands down like that against Pereira, and he could get caught. And I think that's why a lot of people are going with Pereira. Obviously, those keys of victory are big. I mean, the leg kicks, and obviously that devastating hook, the power, the offense that he can throw. Might be a little too much for Jamahal Hill, but as much as I see and I understand why people feel the way they feel, I'm actually rocking with Jamahal Hill here, and I think you guys could kind of tell the way I was speaking about Jamahal Hill on his side of fights than I was about Pierre. And here's why I feel the way I feel. So I gave you the keys of victory for both guys. Obviously, I think Jamahal Hill's lateral movement, his defense. I'm always gonna say defense for both guys. They have to be wary of these things, right? And obviously his volume punching are all those big things. And the reason why I think those keys of victory might outweigh Jamahal Hill's, and even the grappling for Jamahal Hill too. That's also something I brought up. The reason why it might outweigh for Hill against Pierre is simple, because he has more avenues to take this fight to different areas. He doesn't have to fight as if this is a Thai kickboxing match or a Muay Thai fight or a Glory kickboxing fight. He doesn't have to fight in that category. He can fight with lateral movement. He can fight bouncy, and all he has to really truly do is be wary of the leg kicks and wary of that left hook, and that's truly it. And if he wants to, he can get this fight to the ground. I truly believe that. And second of all, he's younger. He's gonna be, and in my opinion, he's the better athlete here. And one of the number one things I hated that Pierre did in that year Proskauer fight, and we just talked about it, is that when he got caught in the cage, in the corner of the cage, he kind of just covered up as if it was a kickboxing fight. He doesn't have the 16-ounce, well, it's not 16-ounce gloves, but still, like 12-ounce, whatever. I don't know how much those gloves weigh, but they're not the big puffy gloves that he's gonna have to protect himself, right? If Jamahal Hill unloads on him like that, he's gonna go out. I think Hill's a little quicker than him, and he's the better athlete for sure. And obviously he's younger. He's a little, and I think he's more durable. Let's not forget, Pierre got knocked out viciously against Adesanya last year, right? And it was a bad KO loss, right? And he's been hurt before in the UFC. We haven't seen Hill get truly rocked or knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't faced that same kind of problem. You know, he has that loss of Paul Craig, and that's it. I just think Hill is gonna catch Pierre slacking. I think he gets him out of there, and especially in the third round. I got Hill by third round TKO. No, actually, I don't have him by third round TKO. I got him by second round TKO. I think Hill's gonna catch him. I really, really do. I just think, however this fight goes, I think his athleticism and his speed and his length is gonna really save him a lot of like areas, and he has more variety in combinations and in striking. And also, if you look at the odds here, I just feel like you gotta hop on that Jamahal Hill money line. I just really, really do. I think Jamahal Hill's gonna get that fight. He's gonna get that belt back, honestly. And I don't know, y'all. I have a really good feeling he beats this guy, man. I'm gonna be searching up the odds for the fight. Let me just see, just to make sure that I'm correct. But I gotta go with the dog here, man. It's not like a bad, like, you know, it's not, they're not, the line ain't horrible, but I mean, plus 124. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's the side here. I think he's the better minute winner. I think everything that Jamahal Hill brings to the table, I think he's just better than Alex Pereira. But it should be a great fight though, nonetheless. But I'm rocking with I'm rocking with Jamahal, man. I'm rocking with Jamahal Hill by second round TKO, and I think he gets him out of there. I can't wait for the fight. I do got a unit on his money line, and I got a unit also with him getting this fight done by knockout or TKO. And yeah, man, I'm pretty confident he does it. But I can't wait for the fight. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Love you and goodbye. Sorry about some of the chops. Just the phone was tripping, but it is what it is. We had to make it work. We had to get this out. But yeah, UFC 300. I can't wait. I will be streaming. But yeah, love y'all. Goodbye. It's your boy eBay, and I'm out of here.
YouTube channel. I'm gonna go check that out. And hey, subscribe to eBay's Fight Prediction. Let's keep the eBay Fight Predictions Nation growing.